Hey guys, what's up? So the next poem I'll be reading is 1029, and this is called Pride from the Seven Deadly Sins. I thought it'd be clever to write seven stories individually of the seven deadly sins, but have each one connected to the other. I wanted all of them to be really dark, but also to have a message, how one sin could take over and affect our lives. This is the last piece of all seven, and I'm so proud of how this story came out as a whole. Pride from the Seven Deadly Sins. Jimmy's at the library. He just finished writing the first page of the article. He revised it as he smiled. Martin, his journalist professor, came up to him as Jimmy placed his paper back in the folder. He wasn't ready to show it just yet. Just remember, it's between you and Arthur. Whoever has a better article, I will give an outstanding reference to Wellington Papers. Just have the same power and pride you've always had this year, and you could possibly get it. I smiled as I grabbed my book bag and looked back at Arthur, sitting at the table getting all his notes together. Martin looked back at me. And Jimmy? I turned to look at him. Yeah? Pushing the chair back under the table. I'm sorry about Janice. I thanked him and walked out of the library. I was back in my dorm room. It was a mess. Information everywhere about all my friends, arrows on how somehow they are all linked to the seven deadly sins. Passages from the Bible and certain objects that connected each person to each sin. Jimmy took his glasses off and massaged his temples. All the information was giving him a headache. He noticed Janice's purse on his bed. He didn't go to her funeral, which was the same day as Jake, which was declared a suicide. As negative as he was, I still don't believe he would do that. Anyway, I couldn't go to her funeral. I felt like it'd be too much. I buried myself in all of this trying to find answers. I moved my computer chair near the bed and picked up her purse, going through it. Something fell out, but I was preoccupied by a picture of her and I she kept in it. It was an old photo that I didn't even know was taken when we first met. I smiled as I tried to remember back to that day. Then I looked down and saw a business card. I slowly bent down and picked it up. It was her therapist, Mr. Refusal, but I noticed something horrifying about his name backwards. I got into my car and took a drive to his office. I couldn't believe all this time the answer was in Janice's purse. I walked into his waiting room. There was no one. I figured no one was here when I heard a stern voice. Come in, Jimmy. The door opened by itself as I slowly walked in. How did you know it was me? He was sitting on his chair, turned around. I know everything. He turned around and his red eyes reflected and went back to blue. Along with that, his real form showed, which was scary and intimidating, and then went back to his striking and handsome persona. The door closed as I turned around, about to leave, as he moved my body with his mind, making me shift from the door to the sofa. He removed his glasses and said, Let's talk. I know exactly what you're doing, Lucifer, feeding on human souls for their sins. He folded his leg and moved his head closer to mine. Very observant. Too bad, not enough. What are you talking about? He laughed as he got louder and louder. You are the last pill. I looked at him confused and then back at the table with the chessboard and the pieces made of glass. You love Janice, but let's just face it, you started this paper with the intention to get that job. Your pride got in the way. I kept shaking my head. No, no, screaming. There was a bunch of smoke, and a pill fell. Mr. Lucifer bent over and picked it up. Now had all seven in his hands. He opened his mouth and took all seven, hearing the screams of all of them. All of a sudden, there was a knock at the door. You couldn't feel the presence. Come in! A man walked in. He rolled his eyes. What the hell are you doing here? He took a seat right near the chessboard. You know you really shouldn't talk like that when I'm in the room. He smiled at Lucifer. Let's play. Now they were both sitting side to side with a board right in between them. Okay, God. But if I win, Earth is mine. He looked at the pieces. And if I win, you go back to hell and never come back again. Sounds pretty fair. Shall we begin? Lucifer smiled. No cheating. God raised an eyebrow. Your move.